Hi there, welcome back to the channel. I'm Carla Kite. My big question today is, are you planning on assuming that current mortgage that you're in? So in this video today, we're going to get into what are the issues that can come up during this process, because believe me, there are several. And so you're going to want to watch this video all the way through, because we're going to go through some different points that I'm going to make, some different things that can come up during this assumption process that you might not be aware of, and I promise you, your attorney is not aware of it either. Hi, I'm Carla Kite, a certified divorce lending professional, otherwise known as a CDLP. I help couples that are going through divorce to plan for their future in home ownership, whether one person is planning to keep the marital home and the other is buying, or if the plan is to sell the marital home and both purchase new homes. So welcome to my channel, Next Chapter Nest. I'm excited to guide you in the right direction. I know that a lot of people that I talk to, they want to go down this assumption road because of the really, really low interest rate that they're sitting in right now on their current mortgage. And so I want to make sure that you're aware of some issues that can come up, some things that you probably have no idea about, and definitely some scenarios that I've been involved in where unfortunately people have been forced to put their homes on the market because they couldn't comply with what they agreed to in their separation agreement. The first thing to note when you are going to do the assumption, you have to fully qualify. So that means that you on your own have to go back through that requalification process with the lender that's currently servicing your loan. Now, for those of you who have great jobs and you can qualify and you know that you're in good shape, that's great. But I know that there is a huge part of the population that does not qualify without having some of the maintenance or the child support added in. Or maybe they have just recently gone back to work and maybe their current job is really great, but guess what? Maybe you haven't been on the job long enough. So some of the issues that can come up here around qualifying are really quite large, especially when you need to show proof of the support income to help you to qualify. So I want to remind you, and I've said this in previous videos, if you are using any of the support to qualify, you have to show proof that you've received it for 6 months, and it also has to continue for 3 years past the date of the finalization of that assumption. So I want you guys to understand, and the first thing you'll need to do is call your current lender and ask them, how long is this assumption process going to take? Because you also probably can't start the process until your divorce is final, because they're going to want to see all of that final paperwork. If you call your current lender and they say it takes 6 months from the time you start the process, so you have to think about that, because if your divorce is not going to be final for 3 months, this is not going to occur then for 9 months down the road. And so if you're negotiating that maintenance support that you're getting right now, and you know that you're going to need that maintenance to qualify, that maintenance is going to have to continue for 3 years past the date of that finalization for the assumption. So, if you're only negotiating 3 years of maintenance, that's not going to be enough for you to qualify. By the time they dig in and find out how long your maintenance is going to continue, it's already too late for you to use it for qualifying. So you really need to make sure that the income that you're using is going to be useful as qualified income throughout the process. It's also really critical if you are not in a position with your employer where you have a straight salary, you want to make sure that all of the income that you are earning can actually be used. So keep in mind, it's difficult for us often to use any overtime or any bonus income, any commission income, anything that's kind of outside of that initial base pay box can be really hard for us to use and prove as income. So you've got to keep that in mind. If you have anything funky going on, it might be hard to prove. Also, if you're working more than one job, if you're working 2 jobs and you want to use the income from both jobs to qualify, you have to show proof that you've been working both of those jobs consistently for the last 2 years. Otherwise, again, we can't use that income. So here's where I want you to understand that you might think in your mind that you have enough income coming in to qualify to assume this loan, but we might not be able to use it as mortgage lenders for qualifying income. So you've got to be really careful and make sure that you're actually going to qualify to assume this loan. The second thing to note is that when you do an assumption, you can't pull out any money to pay off your ex-spouse. So if you are agreeing to any type of an equity buyout, then you're going to have to use another source to pull that money out. So you might think, wow, that's no big deal, right? Well, if you're planning on assuming the loan and you're planning on doing a home equity line of credit to give them the money from the property that you owe them, you're going to have to wait until after that assumption is finalized. So there's something, big red flag, you don't want to agree to in your agreement that you're going to pay them out the equity that's owed once the divorce is final, because you need to get through that assumption process first, and then you're going to have to do the home equity line of credit to pay them out what is owed. So you just need to understand and make sure that you are doing this correctly, the time frame that you can actually provide the funds to the ex-spouse. So the third thing is time frame. And this, you guys, this is more important really than anything. I had a lady call last week because over the summer she had agreed in her separation agreement and her final divorce, she had agreed that she would have her ex-husband's name removed from the mortgage by January. So come the end of January, her assumption was not finalized, and too bad for her, she agreed that if she didn't have him removed from the mortgage, that she would list the home for sale. So now he's trying to court order her to list that property for sale, which is really too bad because she just had a misunderstanding with the bank. She had no idea that it would take this long for the assumption to occur. I know that I helped several couples to separate over the last 1.5 or 2 years since the rates have been a little bit higher, and a lot of them had agreed to the assumption process and figured out a way to pay out the equity in a different way, but they all at one point or another agreed to remove the other spouse from the mortgage, whether that meant refinancing down the road or an assumption, during this time frame. You just have to make sure that what you're agreeing to you can actually do. So when you put in writing that you're going to remove your ex-spouse from the mortgage within a certain time frame, or they can force the sale, don't take that lightly because they can actually force the sale. So you have to be really careful about what it is that you're agreeing to, and you have to make sure that you're acting in good faith. I would say that most people don't know how long the assumption process takes, and they're not forward thinking with that and understanding that it could take several months. It could take 6 to 9 months for you to get that assumption done. So you have to make sure that you're allowing for that much time in the agreement so that they can't execute that clause that forces you to sell your home. So I know that a lot of you that are watching this are just contemplating divorce, or maybe you're already really in the middle of it, and that's okay. I can help at any point. Please call or text the phone number that's popping up below. I am a certified divorce mortgage lending professional, and I'm here to help you weed through this process in divorce. It can seem really, really complicated, and sometimes it can seem really easy, but it's not because of what we have to deal with on the mortgage side.